One of my very, very favorite journals, if not my favorite, is this little one right here. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. So I made this one over a year ago. It was a design team project for the Digital Collage Club. I just love the size. I love the simple tab binding. I love all the little pockets, tucks, and especially the flip outs of this one. If you want to see the making of this one, you can see the link below. I'll show you step by step how I made this. So I thought, let's make an updated version of something similar. So fun. For the base of this new little journal, I want to use these gorgeous backgrounds. Again, these are from the Digital Collage Club, and these are called Grungy Neutrals. Most of you watching this know this by now, but if you're new here, let me introduce you to this fantastic membership-based site. It's packed with an extensive array of royalty-free digital craft supplies and tutorials. And by the way, if you look to the top right of my screen, you will notice a new menu called Clip Art Corner. This is currently in the testing phase, so stay tuned for that to be available soon. So by opting for either a yearly or lifetime membership, you'll instantly unlock a treasure trove of unique images and resources. Plus, new images are added every week, so you'll always have fresh inspiration. And the best part, you can sell the crafts you create using these images. So there are two membership options, a one-year membership or a lifetime membership. With the lifetime option, a single payment grants you unlimited access to all images and tutorials forever. Check out the video description box below for discount codes on both membership types. And just so you know, using these links and codes gives me a commission, which greatly supports my small creative business. And I truly appreciate it if you sign up or have already signed up using my link. Thank you so much for considering the Digital Collage Club and for supporting my creative journey. So I printed 6 of the 20 pages in the kit, and you see these white stripes here on the side because this kit comes in US letter format. So if you print it on A4, you will get stripes on the sides, but that does not bother me since I'm not using the full page size anyway. I mean, Tina just totally, I think, channeled her inner Barbara when she created these. How cool is that? By the way, on this one, I forgot to say print without a border, which is why I also have the border on the top and the bottom. But again, it doesn't matter because I'll be using only parts of these. I want my pages to be tag shaped, and I'm going to make my life easy and use this die cut, but obviously you can just cut your own tags. You could maybe just cut one the size and shape you want, and then trace that if you want all of yours the same. I also think it's fun to not have them all the same size, because if you look here, for example, we have all different kinds of shapes and sizes of the pages, which actually makes it super cute. And I'm actually changing my mind now because I think part of the charm of this journal is that the shapes are not the same. So let's go with that. So my plan is to have 10 pages in total. So half of them will be this tag shape, and I think half of them will be a little smaller but a little wider. I could have just printed these pages back to back, but I printed these on 180 GSM cardstock, and it's still just a little bit too flimsy because I really like when the pages are sturdy. So my plan is to glue these back to back, and then I have sturdier pages. So I need 10 of these since I need 2 per page to glue them back to back. So I have all my tag shapes cut up. So I have 10 of these where I used my die, and I have 10 of these, and I just made these, as I said, a little bit wider and a little bit shorter. These don't have holes in them. I'm not sure whether I will make holes in them at this point. But look at the beautiful variation of grunge. I am so in love. Tina, thank you, thank you, thank you. So even though these would be ready to go if you wanted to just use them as they are, I think that would be beautiful. But I do want to put a little more personality in them, make them a little bit more Barbara style. So I want to start off by adding some stenciling. And I'm going to do that with my Distress Oxides and a blending brush rather than spraying through the stencils with wet media, because this is faster, easier. I don't have to wait for them to dry. I don't have to bend them back in shape. This is just so much easier. And I'm going to use a variation of different neutral tones. So I'll start off with some Vintage Photo. And the nice thing is when you have such small elements, you can of course do several at once. So I'll use also several different stencils. This one here is by Tim Holtz and it has the number THMS053, and I'll use Vintage Photo. And I really do not want to overthink this. Good luck, Barbara. I really just want some more interest on these. Let's switch the color and the stencil. Let's go for a cooler tone this time. I'll use Pumice Stone Distress ink. Doesn't matter, ink or oxide. I'm not going to use the oxidation effect. So next I'll use this stencil. This is one of my newest one. Again, Tim Holtz THS 149. Beautiful. So I will continue with the rest of these and all of these and show you the results at the end. So I have all my stenciling done. I think these have already a lot more character. Love that we have a variation of the backgrounds, not only the design, but also a variation of different shades of browns and gray. Here it's very subtle. But we're not done. Let's alter them a little bit more. I want to use some script stamps. I think I'll stick mostly to these here, Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. Faded Type CMS 397. Please look what you have, what you might like to add to the background. This is not about using the same products, it's just about adding more interest with whatever you have. So I'll be using black archival ink for this. And again, I'll do my best to make this sort of random, but I do want it the right side up, even though I might actually turn some of these around later. We're not going to think about it at the moment. Oh yeah, look, that's really a nice addition. So again, I'm going to continue with the other tags, randomly adding various scripts. So here is what they look like now. Getting a lot more character. And finally, I also want some touches of white on these. So I'm going to use some texture paste. This one is opaque. And I'm going to use the same stencils because I want to keep them cohesive. Ooh, this has hardened quite a bit. Oh no. Okay, we'll see how much we can still get out of this. Haven't used this for a while, that's the problem. And this is probably not the best tool. No, I'm going to switch to a spatula, which is more stiff. I've actually never tried it with a silicone brush like this, but now I know it's not the best solution unless your texture paste is more pliable. Okay, so let's try this one. I really just want little accents. I don't want to cover the whole thing. Yes. So I washed and dried my stencils because I did not want the white to mix with the Distress Oxides that was on there before. I wanted the white to stay white, but of course, if you don't care that yours is white, then it's great if you actually leave the ink on it and then use your texture paste because you'll get really beautiful shades. So again, I'm going to just continue and show you the results at the end because I think this is pretty self-explanatory. So these are all dry now and look what happened. The Distress Oxide totally came through the texture paste as if it was on top. I was not expecting that. Look, look, look. So we still have some white parts, thankfully, but I am really surprised by this result. And I have the feeling it came through most with the ground espresso, but that kind of makes sense because it's the darkest color. This I think was Vintage Photo, and also this came through the texture paste. This one I think was Pumice Stone, and this hardly came through. Here, not at all. I really love the contrast here. Yeah, and here not at all either. So it seems to depend on maybe the intensity of the pigment in the ink. This one I believe is Vintage Photo. A little bit is coming through. Yeah, this again was the ground espresso. And again, this one stayed white because I have my ink on this side. This one I think was frayed burlap and it did come through. This is again the ground espresso. Here as well. And here. So you see here where there's no ink, it's white, and here where it's inked up, it comes through very yellowish. Interesting effect. I do like it. So my next step is to glue all of these back to back. I think especially with the hand cut ones, I know I'm going to have to make some adjustments because they don't line up 100%. That's okay, I can always cut them to fit. I'm going to use my art glitter glue and just go around the edges. I'm also going to be sewing around these for decoration. You do not have to sew. I love the look, but it's not necessary. You can just glue these together. And then I will also be inking them up, I think with ground espresso because I want dark edges. So the sewing and the inking up is completely going to change the look of it again. So I'm back from inking and sewing, and you see I have these threads here on a lot of these tags here on the side. So let me show you how I did that with my sewing machine. So while I'm going around with my foot, I just stop wherever I want to have this bunched up thread. Then I take some extra thread, lift the foot, push it under, and just sew right over it. And then I like to go over it one more time so that it's secured a little bit better. And then you get this really messy look. And if you're lucky, you get some more bonus messes if your machine cooperates, you know? Like this was not planned. This was purely my machine. So we have some beautiful grungy tags now. So you see how much the stitching and the inking of the edges changed these. I just have to say I am in love with these, and I also added these bunched up thread pieces in different places because I just like having them all around my journal, and I'm going to of course mix these up as well. And I think I'm going to alternate these. So let's start with a narrow one. And then this next one, I'm going to turn around and put like this. And I think this time, rather than what I did here, I just had all the tabs on one side. So it opens like a regular journal. I think on this one, I want to do an accordion style. So this one will flip this way. And then the next one will have the binding on this side. So again, I'm going to take one of these and let's turn this one around. That will be attached on this side. Then we have again one of these. And so we'll keep all, oh, but that doesn't work, does it? Because now if I have a wide one on this edge, this is really going to come out a lot. Is that a problem? I don't know yet. It might not even be an issue, but that is something to keep in mind, of course. That's going to totally change the dimensions of your journal. I'm kind of losing track of where I need to put my tabs now. Right, left. So the next one goes here. So we'll do one of these again. Turning it around again. You have to concentrate for this. Then we'll put one of the shorter ones here, but see, then it keeps going farther out, so that does not really work. I guess we're going to have to keep it in the regular journal style to only have the tab binding on one edge here. Otherwise, this is going to become a mess. But I am turning around the tags, so some of them are upside down, some of them are on the right side up. Let's turn this around. This one will go right side up. Oh, I don't really want this on the edge because we'll probably not see that one as well, so we'll turn that around. Then we need a wide one again, and again we'll turn this around. This one and this one and this one. It will make more sense, I think, once I can show you a flip through, because I think this was hard to see now. Okay, so we have all of these, and now we just need to connect them. So I'm going to use some fabric for my tabs. And I'm going for this black and white one. This one is called Printed Matter, and it's by Seth Apter. So if I counted correctly, and I'm going to use the same method I did on this one, where I add always alternately 3 tabs, and then on the next one, 2 tabs. That seemed to work really well for stability. This is not moving, so I really think that worked out well. So let's do that again. So with 10 pages, I counted that I need 22 pieces of fabric, and I cut these, let's say, a little bit bigger than my thumbnail. And let's start adding these. So we're taking our first and second pages. So these need to be joined on this edge. Let's get everything out of the way. Oh, but see, I don't want this on the edge. So this needs to be turned around because I want this on the outside. So I will attach them like so. Get all the threads out of the way. Make sure they are the position I want them to be. And then I'm going to put some glue on the fabric. Usually I would put it on the more sturdy substrate, which is obviously the tag, but it's easier to place them when the glue is on the fabric. So I'm just using some white glue thinned down with a little bit of water so I can spread it more easily. And then I'll start with 3 tabs. It's probably easier if your fabric is ironed so that it doesn't roll up. So then we'll put one here, leaving enough space in between to fit another one. Yeah, this is actually a bit close, but I can't really move it further down because I need to add a third one. A third one is not gonna fit. So that means this time I'll just do 2 and 2 tabs instead of alternating between 2 and 3. Actually, this should dry first because if I flip it over now, this is going to stick. So I'll use my heat gun. So I just had to rewatch my other video where I made this one because I already made a mistake. So don't do what I just did. I need to now try to remove these 2. Hopefully without making too much damage. Oh no, what did I do? See, I should always watch my own tutorials before trying something again. Oh no, and of course it's tearing. You know what? I think it's probably best if I just cut it in the middle. What did I do? So let's take this away. This was page 2. Let's start again with page 1. So if I want this to be my first page, the tabs need to go on this outer side and not on the inner side. So that was the first mistake. Thankfully, I have enough tabs because I'm only doing 2 and 2 instead of 3 and 2. And I'm only going to add the glue on half of it now. So we'll add one here. And then I'll leave space for one in between and I'll add the other one here. Then we flip this over like as if we were turning the page. We're going to ignore these. These will be part of our page design. And then for this page, again, we're going to ignore these. For this one, now we need to add the tabs in between these 2 pieces. So I need to add one here and one here. And again, I'm only adding the glue to half of the piece of fabric. So again, making sure that these are placed how I want them to be in the end. So then I'll put one here to go right in between these. And the second one I'll put here. So then I'm going to put glue on the other halves of the first page. And glue those onto my second page so that they line up where I want them to line up. So sometimes the fabric doesn't want to stick right away. You have to be a little bit patient with it. And then these 2 tabs are actually supposed to go in between here. This looks so confusing now because I have these cut off tabs. But now we have these 2 pieces waiting basically for the next page. So we flip this over. See, we have these 2 loose now, and we can add our next page. Again, I want this on the outside, so I'll turn it around. And you see these 2 are going to go around this one. But of course, again, we also need 2 more to connect the next page. I hope this is not too confusing. It is a bit confusing, I will give you that, especially with the way I'm currently explaining it. So now I want to line these tabs, the new tabs, up with these 2 tabs. So I want to make sure this is placed where I want it. And then I put one here to line up with this one. And the next one lines up with this one. Then I put these loose tabs underneath so that they can go around then for the next page. And I add my glue here to connect these two tabs. These are sticking a little bit because of course the glue is not dry, so I'm going to put some sticker backing paper in between. You could also use like some freezer paper or parchment paper. And here we have our two tabs for the next page. So we take our next tag, we place a tab here in between the other two, and here. So we flip this and we connect the tabs from the previous tag. So one here and one here. So for the last one, we don't need to add any tabs. All we need to do is to connect the two that we have from the previous page. Whew, there we go. So this is what the side looks like with the binding. And I'm going to let these dry before I continue. So once your tabs are dry, this is what it looks like. I really like that we didn't put all the tags the same direction and also that we have a variation in width. I think it adds a lot more interest than if everything is the same. So again, this is what the side looks like with the tabs. And one of the things I really love about this tab binding is how absolutely flat all the pages lay. Let me just show you. It's really nice. When you flip through it, it feels really good. One thing I've noticed, which might happen to you as well, is that you have a little bit of glue. Well, you can see here it's shiny, where you added tabs. First of all, it's kind of sticky, and second of all, I don't like this random shine. So there's two alternatives to deal with that. One is maybe you have a glue eraser. You can find these online, just search for glue eraser. Let's see if it works. You have to be gentle with these because if you're not careful, you could rub away some of your paper. But that worked. No more shine. So that's an awesome alternative. Otherwise, so I still have some shine here. No, you can't really see it that well. Let me see, where can I show you? Here. You see this shiny bit here? The other alternative is just using a piece of candle. This was just a regular white candle. And if I rub this over, it makes it super smooth. It doesn't get rid of it as well as the glue eraser. There is still a tiny bit of shine left, but it's still worth doing it because it's completely smooth now rather than sticky. Because over time, your pages would stick together. So the wax is a really good way to get rid of that. And it does dampen the shine. So I'm going to go ahead and do that all around my tabs. And I'm actually going to use the candle version because it's a lot quicker. And knowing me, if I'm not careful, I will tear the paper. We don't want that. And I really like the feeling that the wax leaves on the page. It's just a beautiful, smooth texture. And if you go over your fabric, then you can really be sure that nothing is ever going to stick together. I wish you could feel this. It feels so nice. So I don't know what I've done here, but clearly I didn't follow my own instructions because there should be tabs here. Where did they go? What did I do? See, all the other pages have tabs on both sides, and this one only has it on this side. So I don't know what I did there. Well, it doesn't really seem to matter. But don't do that. Oh, you know what? I have 4 here. I'm only supposed to have 2 here. I don't know what I did. I don't know how I expect you to follow my instructions if I can't even follow my own instructions. Okay, so now when I flip through this, there is no sticking whatsoever. It's super smooth. I love it. Even though I love these pages as they are, I mean, you really wouldn't need anything else, would you? They're just beautiful. But somehow I would like to add some focal points because it is kind of boring, right? So I'd like to add different things. First of all, I found these Alice scrapbooking papers. These are usually full pages. So I printed 6 pages on one sheet. The reason why I chose 6 pages is because this gives me a nice size for the images to work with our size of pages. Originally, I didn't think I was going to add any color and just go with images like these, which are neutral, but I might just try some of these colored ones as well. Add a little bit of color. Don't know about this one yet. Then I also printed these here. These are from the same Alice scrapbooking paper. But here I just printed 2 pages on one sheet, which is why they are a lot larger. For these, I thought I could cut these out and add them randomly to the pages. And for these, I had in mind these very cute butterflies. I'm not sure I'm going to love these colors in here, but maybe once I add some of these colored images, they might actually work. I'm extremely unsure about these. Then I also printed out this one. This is called Steampunk Alphabet Round Images. And I printed this at 100%. All of these were printed on 200 GSM cardstock. And I will list all of the printables I used for this journal below in the description box. Then I like this set as well. I've used some of these actually in this journal as well. For example, this one here is this one right here, and no, this is even a little bit smaller. So these are from the Grunge Butterfly library cards. So with these, I first said print 2 pages on one sheet, and in addition, I reduced it to 90%. Again, I just thought that the size of these would go well into our journal. Then that is the 3rd page of that same set. And finally, I chose these. These are from the Steampunk Journal Kit, the ephemera pages. And I printed these at 70%. And this is the 2nd page. So now I need to cut these things out and play around with them to see if and what I can use. I'm going to start with the cover page because that will kind of give me the tone of the whole journal. And I want this one here on the cover. So I'm not sure, should I just fussy cut her, or do I just cut a rectangle out? Or I could even make this into a tag shape, kind of do something similar to what I've done here and add that with 2 additional tabs for another flip out, because I really love how this one turned out. I might actually, since I have a hole here, I really love having the charm here that adds so much to the journal. I'll cut an upside down tag so that I have the hole that I have here anyway on the bottom, so I can hang something on here because that is such a cute feature. So here's my upside down tag, and since the back is white and it's quite flimsy, I'm adding a piece of a paper bag that I had left over. Add that to the back. I did use a die cut for this so that it's faster. We do need some interest on this, right? I'll add some texture paste, not even through a stencil, but just on its own to create some grunge, because why not? We could add some like faux writing on it. And once that's dry, let's use one of the same stencils I used. This one has the number THS 174. And I'll use ground espresso. Yeah. Then let's add some stitching. So here we go. Again, I've added the thread on one side. I added a golden eyelet. And I also inked up this back side. So this can now go here. And we still have some fabric tabs left. I have to cut these in half since this is a smaller tag. Don't want to cover up so much of it. And since this is so small, I'm just going to use my art glitter glue because it's faster. I don't need a brush. And I'll add one here. And one here. And secure, oh, I have this here, so can't put it over that. So I'll move it a little bit farther up and we'll just secure these around our first page. Cute. So I will continue to decorate these pages. If I do anything special that I usually wouldn't do, I will show that part in more detail. Otherwise, I will just show you a flip through at the end because you know how to attach ephemera, right? I'm not sure yet how much I'm going to add. So we did it. Well, I don't know what you did, but I decorated this journal. So in comparison, the new and the old, so they're two little buddy journals now. I think they're very cute together actually. So let me show you what I did. It's about 3 hours later. I've also eaten a quick lunch in the meantime. So as you can see here, I had, thankfully, this little card charm, which couldn't be more perfect for an Alice journal. I added some sari silk ribbon as a closure, although it doesn't really need a closure. It's not a gator mouth or anything. The decorations are quite minimal because I really wanted to showcase the beautiful backgrounds. And I added some embossing glaze here and there. So as you can see here, Alice has it on her dress. Love that. So I used Distress Embossing Glaze Fossilized Amber for her dress. Remember, this image was only black and white before. So when we flip this open now, we have this decoration here and another butterfly, which is also glazed with the yellow embossing glaze. What I paid attention to is the placement of these. So first of all, I wanted these here and the butterfly to peek out from the tag to invite you into the journal. And I love how we have the bunched up thread here, which is in the middle of the butterfly. Then you might also notice I changed this eyelet. I had a golden one in here before and I really like this one a lot better. So then we flip it open. I left this page as it is. On this side I added a belly band with one of the library cards. Added another one of those cards inside. Then I made a tiny little envelope out of some of that paper bag. On the flap, I added this typewriter A from the kit that I showed you before, and also here I added some embossing glaze. Inside, I have another one of these little cards that I just folded up. I did cut off some of the edges as well because it was too big. And that just goes in here. I also added a little bit of that candle wax on top. It has a little bit of shine and it makes it really, really nice to go over with your fingers. This I left as it is. I cut out this from the Alice ephemera pack, added stitching here, added some red embossing glaze. This one was the caramel apple. Added it as a tuck spot, added some stitching here and added another card here. Added another one of those eyelets. I fussy cut her from one of the shrunken down journaling pages. I embossed both her dress and her hair with embossing glaze. Added a paper bag strip underneath with some texture paste underneath. On this side we have again one of those crumpled and inked up pieces of a paper bag. This is one of the envelopes from the ephemera kit I showed you. Again, cut out one of those butterflies, embossed it with yellow embossing glaze. Added some stenciling on the inside. Added some stamping here and another crumpled up piece of paper bag with the letter A for Alice. I found some butterflies in my stash which I had actually printed out for this project, I think. So I had some of these left and I just had to add them here. So these are not embossed, these are printed on transparency. Then I added another one of those library cards and embossed this heart with the blue embossing glaze. This is the speckled egg. Added another eyelet up here. This one I left as it is. Then I used another random die cut to cut out one of the images from the journal pages. I embossed her hair with the fossilized amber and the flower and this butterfly with the speckled egg. And then I added 2 more butterfly wings from the ones that I found on the transparencies. This is one of the smaller pieces ephemera that I showed earlier. I just cut out this heart from the same fabric from which I made the tabs. Stuck it down. Added another one of those butterflies that I found. Love that sepia color. Stuck another one down here on one of the library cards. Then I used a die to cut out this round image from one of the journaling pages I had printed, and I embossed her ribbon and these 2 butterflies. I had this strip here left from one of the pages I cut out, which I just made into a belly band, and stuck another one of these library cards inside. Then I just made this collage again using that candied apple embossing glaze. Made a pocket out of this half library card, stuck another piece of paper bag in here. Added another tag as a flip out. I just used some embossing glaze for her hair. Added this sari silk ribbon on top. Added some stenciling here and one of those cutouts from one of the pages. Stamped another A for Alice and sewed around the heart. And on the back page, I tore a wonky heart again out of the paper bag, crumpled it up, inked it up, and added another embossed butterfly. A few days ago, I posted a story on Instagram showing you this tab binding and asking you if you have ever tried a tab binding, and the vast majority answered with no. So let me know if you are willing to give this type of binding a try. I think it works best on small journals like this. Let me know what you think. So now the challenge is to find some space here on my journal shelf. There we go. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah.